It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
The Dell Precision 370 is a blast of the past, specifically the year 2004. This is a time period marked by transition in personal computing. The beige boxes of old are being replaced by newer looking and faster performing computers in many places. Windows XP's reign on PCs is in full swing, and Intel and AMD are battling over improving CPU performance and efficiency. This workstation came in this almost tumultuous era for computing, and you can bet that it almost perfectly represents what it was like to be a computer in the early 2000s. This workstation has that same barely iconic Dell case design from the start of the millennium, with that same dark gray shell and flip-up I/O panel door. Of course, you can't forget the clamshell hinge mechanism, which requires anyone who wants to do maintenance to lay the computer on its side in order to even access the internals. At first glance, you may be drawn to the massive heatsink over the Pentium 4 660 CPU. It's understandable that Dell would put something like that into their computer. Hyperthreading and high clock speeds did not help the thermals at all on Pentium 4s built on the Prescott core. These Socket 775 CPUs also introduced DDR2 memory to the mainstream. This machine had 3GB of ECC RAM running at 533 MHz. Graphics processing on this machine is handled by an NVIDIA Quadro FX 1400 graphics card. My guess is that this was a mid-range GPU back in the day. There's also a Sound Blaster Odyssey 2 ZS card, which is a nice bonus. The motherboard is another indicator of the transitional time period, with both SATA and IDE connectors, 4 storage devices, as well as 2 PCI Express slots, complementing the 3 PCI expansion slots. Unfortunately, this board was also manufactured during the capacitor plague of the early 2000s, so some of the capacitors are bulging and need replacement. Speaking of the board, it does not lack any external I/O with 6 USB 2.0 ports, Gigabit Ethernet, serial, parallel, PS2, and AC97 audio jacks. The graphics card has 2 DVI ports and a stereo connector, and the sound card has line-in, digital out, microphone, and multiple line-out jacks as well as a FireWire port. The front I/O, covered by a flip-up panel, consists of 2 USB ports and a headphone output. And with that, I'm going to conclude this first part of my look at this workstation. In part 2, I'll be looking at how this machine stacks up against my editing rig. Until then, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And I'll be uploading pictures of this computer to my archive, so be sure to check the link in the description for that. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Tiger Steve Tech.